Welcome back, everybody, to another session of the Rocking Midlife Virtual Summit. And it has been amazing with so many fabulous guests, and she's already bopping here. But I am particularly excited today because I don't only look up to this lady as a role model in the midlife demographic, as you know, a leader, but I can honestly call her my friend, and I absolutely love her and adore her. So please, a big welcome to Katherine Grace O'Connell. Hi, Katherine.
I am so honored to be here with you and all these beautiful women. And we were just talking about culture shock and being
Yeah.
across the pond or more than across the pond. So, yeah, I love you. I love what you do. I love what you stand for. I love who you are. And I love that we're friends,
Yeah.
in real life and virtual
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll talk more about that as we go because yeah, it's just been an incredible experience. I've known Katherine for a few years now. And
Yes.
yeah, there's something really amazing when you can put competition aside and collaborate and build a relationship. And wow, the difference in that. But anyhow, I'm going to read a little bit of her bio. And she's going to test my lisp here because, as I've mentioned before, I have a lisp after being a professional muso on saxophone for many years. But Katherine is, here we go, an ageism positivist. I think I got it. She is an empowerment
She did.
catalyst, which I love that word, catalyst. She is the founder of the Forever Fierce Midlife Matters, a global Facebook community dedicated to supporting and celebrating the modern midlife woman. She is the CEO of Forever Fierce Media, which is a female-focused, message-based digital media agency. Now, Katherine has a powerful message that just is all about midlife, just being a season in a woman's life where she can just really flourish and grow and be empowered to do amazing things. So before we get into any questions specifically, we're going to be talking about this whole theme of Katherine's, how to master modern midlife. So Katherine, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you end up creating this movement? Because that's what you've actually done. You've created a movement.
And I love how you opened it, that let's learn to put competition aside because especially in
Yeah.
the midlife space, right? Hopefully we're grown-ups and we've
Mm-hmm.
learned that stuff doesn't really work and we need each other. So we really are stronger together and collaboration is the way of the future. We are in a new energy, a new world, and it is
Yeah.
a world of collaboration. So I am turning 60 and I'm really excited. I
My
am pretty
gosh.
shocked by like I did not know when I've shared this many times. My mom, when she was at the exact same age, had just left a 35-year marriage. And on her bucket list, her first thing was a full facelift, eye lift, neck lift. No judgment there at all, but
Yeah.
exactly the same age. And I think, hi, Mox. Hi, Moxie. So I just think I was expecting something very different. I was expecting to feel old and not I don't have those. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I have insomnia. We've talked about that many times, but there are certainly things that happen as we get older that I don't love. But what I do love, and this is what modern midlife really is to me, it's a midlife that isn't just lived outside in, which is how we were raised and taught.
Yeah.
It's a midlife that from the inside out first and foremost, because that's really where our power lies. That's where all our real inherent qualities are the inside. That's what we take with us. That's where transformation happens. So I have learned in my 30 plus years in working in the inner world that that's where the magic lies. So
Mm.
that is what mastering modern midlife is really sharing everything that I've learned, opening my toolbox, which is an inner toolbox,
Yeah.
all the things that I have learned to transform my life and the way that I think and the way that I live and to see getting older in a very positive, empowered light.
Oh, I love that. I'd really love if you could share a little bit of your story too, Katherine, so people could realize you're not someone who had a wonderful, fabulous life, and midlife has just been an extension of that. Midlife is where you've really flowered, isn't it? So, do you mind sharing a little bit of how you kind of came into all of this and started this movement?
Sure, and I think that's what's really important because it's very important social media gives us a certain highlight reel, right? But
Yeah.
we don't necessarily see the journey. We all have a heroine's journey. We are all on separate journeys, different journeys, and we're here to grow in the way that we need to. I signed up for a pretty rough path, and the good news is that friction is what causes a butterfly, right, to come out and fly. So, yeah, I grew up in not a very healthy home. I was sexually abused as a child. I then basically, from that point on, I adopted a belief system that it was my fault. There was something wrong with me, in addition to being silenced, having my voice really taken away. And so I married that, on steroids, basically. The marriage was far more difficult than my childhood, and literally it almost broke me in two. Like, I did have a breakdown, and
Yeah.
that was when my doctor said, you don't get out, you're not going to make it. So, fast forward to moving to LA, leaving everything behind, going to get my master's in spiritual psychology. I'd been on a, spiritual path for 30 plus years, and then getting diagnosed with late stage Lyme disease. So
Yeah.
you think when you leave a marriage, everything is gone, but not necessarily. You can leave the environment, but you go with you. So the
Yeah.
me that went into all those things with all my disempowering beliefs, everything that was inside me was still with me, right? I can leave the
Yeah.
marriage, but I'm still me. So I still had a lot of inner work to do. And the beauty was, the Lyme disease to me was a representation of all that abuse and trauma and all the
Mm.
disempowered parts. You talk about, this rising. That's the phoenix.
Yeah.
If it takes friction
And
to
fire. Yeah.
right, friction and fire, right? Causes the
Yeah.
spark, causes the fire, causes the ashes. Then, so the old self, for me, I went through a near-death experience, right? I spent a year unable to walk,
Mm.
seizures, bedridden, all my organs shutting down, left my body, but I didn't leave this plane, and I still stayed here. So I was still in deathly ill.
Mm.
But after that, it really forced me to. I literally had a choice to make, stay or go, and I
Yeah.
stayed. But then I consciously chose a new path, a new life, wellness over illness. So that was a really inside job, and the doctors had given up on me. They said that there was no way that I was going to be able to heal,
Mm.
and I did. I stopped everything. I stopped believing in that,
Yeah.
and I made a choice to focus entirely on wellness and following joy, and not believing what they said. Not that,
Mm.
um, yeah, I don't believe that that can happen every time, but for me, I
Yeah.
knew that the root of my illness was trauma. I knew that it was, I had the ability, the power to heal it from the
Yeah.
inside out, and I did, and an entirely new life opened up. So that's my midlife journey, and I call
Yeah.
midlife not an age experience. It's a pivot from
Mm.
who we were taught to be, to who
Yes.
we choose to be.
To who we choose to. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love that you mentioned, you made a choice in regards to your health and well-being as well. It's funny because I was talking, I can't even remember who it was I interviewed yesterday, but we talked about this very thing. We can make choices. Even in the bleakest things, we can still make choices about how we react, how we respond, how we choose to feel and think. Of course, crap's going to happen. That's just part of it, but we still can make choices. And I love that midlife, we can make choices that move us to a different place. We don't have to just replicate what we had before. So you
And
have sorry, go on.
oh, I was just going to say, and it's really important because as women at this stage in our life, I've been on here 6 decades, things happen to
Yeah.
us and some really awful things can happen to us, but they're not our fault, but they are our responsibility. So we need to let the shame go, right? The shame and
Yeah.
guilt that things, being sexually abused, you can take on these beliefs, but that's something that happened to me, but it doesn't define me. So this
Yes.
is a time in our lives when we choose to define ourselves our way.
Oh, love that. I love that. So you have so much wisdom and so much, just, from your own walk, but not only from that, because in you finding yourself, you ended up creating a movement. So you've got an amazing group of women in this Forever Fierce tribe, which is now Forever Fierce Midlife Matters. And what I love over the years, for people who aren't aware, is in the meantime, I was doing my little Rocking Midlife tribe down here at this end of the world. And I saw Katherine's, and I can't even remember how it happened, but we kind of connected. I think we reached out and spoke to each other. And then we just I never saw it as a threat. I saw it as, wow, here's another amazing group, and wow, look at this woman who's mentoring these people. And so we had an amazing experience when I was actually promoting her conference in 2018 in my group, and I stopped halfway through the post, said to my husband, I think I'm actually meant to be there at this. And we didn't have the money or anything. He was a bit like, really? So I reached out to Katherine and said, I think I'm meant to be here. And she was like, yeah, get over here. Okay, so within 24 hours, I had booked a ticket and I was leaving for LA, like probably a month later or something like that. It was that fast, but it was the right thing to do, because when I got there, to be able to support her and the amazing work she was doing, and it opened up my eyes to a more global perspective as well, because we can get caught in our own little corners of the world, our own little bit of turf. And so I just loved connecting with Katherine, helped me look at things on a much larger scale. And it's incredible too, if you follow Katherine's Instagram, Katherine, you have like the most, like, seriously, I've said it a million times, you look like you've walked straight off a runway. You're phenomenal. But here is this beautiful woman who so many of us could think is totally untouchable. And yet she isn't. There is this real, raw, genuine, beautiful woman here who's been through stuff, who is wanting to encourage other women. So, it's just such a blessing to have that connection. So in all of that wisdom, all of that information you have from everything you've done, what would be one key thing that you would share with the women listening in to this particular message?
Well, first, I want to acknowledge and honor you for taking that ride, pushing that button, getting the ticket, saying, hey, I'm going to do this, even though I don't know how it's going to happen. And here you were. And it was life-changing for us as well. So I really want to honor and acknowledge you.
Thank
And yeah, encourage other women to take chances. So I guess for me, it would be, like I said before, I see, for me, for midlife, it was two selves. It literally was obviously
Yeah.
I had a near-death experience. My other self literally walked away, but I was still left with the remnants of the old self, and it was up to me to burn that away. So I feel like this is such a powerful time in a woman's
Yeah.
life. So whatever it is that you might be holding on to that's holding you back, holding you in that former self versus looking ahead in this moment, in this present moment, your future self, it's being created, right? It's being created by a combination of our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our patterns, and we're in control of all of those things. So if we aren't happy with where we are, if there's something that we want to change, especially if it's this burning desire in our hearts, it's there for a reason. It's
Yeah.
speaking to us. The future self is there awaiting you, and it's an inside job. And the inside job is sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's also the most powerful and most transformative. So that, to me, start within.
And do you have any sort of practical tips for women who are listening to this going, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, what would you recommend? How would they start that? Maybe go away on their own or journal, or what
Well,
practical things
yeah,
worked for you?
I would say I started with two things for me. One was what's called mirror work. Louise Hay is well known for establishing
Mm-hmm.
Hay House and creating this process, which really is just looking at yourself in the mirror. As women, what do? We look and we
And
criticize
we
and we go
judge.
right to our
Yeah.
imperfections. We go right to, oh my God, I look so tired. I'm so fat. I'm so ugly. I'm so this. I'm so that.
Yeah.
It's not looking through those eyes. It's looking through of your soul. So
Mm.
I did this when I was 95 pounds. I'm 5'9". I looked like a skeleton.
Goodness.
So I'm not looking at myself for how beautiful I am. I was connecting with a deeper part of myself. So every
Yeah.
single day I would wake up and I would look in the mirror. And I would, what you're going to do is if you haven't done this, you're going to look away. Like it's so awkward, but you're reconnecting with the deeper part of yourself,
Yeah.
and you're learning to love the deeper part of yourself, the inner part of yourself. So for me, every day I spent a little more time, and I would say loving things to myself. So breaking
Mm.
that pattern of first thing waking up, brushing my teeth, going, oh,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like I'm a really cool person. I really love myself. And it took a while to do that. But again, it's breaking a pattern,
Mm.
and it's ritualizing the morning with something positive.
Mm.
So, and connecting with the deeper part. And the other thing for me, obviously, I was in a very desperate place. I
Yeah.
was filled with despair. I couldn't walk. I was completely went from independent to completely dependent.
Mm-hmm.
I was not in a good place mentally, emotionally. So changing my thoughts was not easy for me. So
Yeah.
I worked with a mantra. I learned the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, which means I am consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I chose that. So every time I had a negative thought, I would say that in my mind and I would
Yeah.
sing it to myself. So that creates a positive vibration going in there. And over time, first of all, it starts going automatically and it starts creating a positive stream instead of a
Yeah.
negative stream. For me, that worked better than trying to change to a positive thought. I was too depressed to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's breaking that pattern and it's adding something in that then becomes unconscious. So anytime I have a negative thought, immediately I would start singing it to myself in my head. So
Yeah.
I started breaking that negative thought pattern over
Yeah.
time. So those were two tools for me that worked brilliantly.
That's great. No, they're such good practical tools, and they're so similar to things that I was talking to another woman about the other day. It's amazing. And as you know, I am a Christian, and for Christian women listening in, you can
Mhm.
do the same thing. What is a psalm, or what is something that you can hang on to and put in your mind so that you're hearing and leaning on God rather than leaning on yourself, especially when you've got nothing left in yourself. So great practical tips.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now tell me, you've created this movement in the process of you transforming. How did that kind of happen?
Well, it started with the Fierce 50. You remember the Fierce 50.
Mm-hmm.
So it was back the end of December in 2016, I had an idea. I was in a yoga class, and this idea literally came through me. It was like a booming voice in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm laying on the mat, and I hear this, go get 50 women over the age of 50 on the 50th day of the year and create a campaign to celebrate and connect
Fantastic.
women over 50.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I literally got off the mat. I called a couple of my blogger friends. We got it together within like 6 weeks. We launched this campaign. We ended up getting 70 bloggers. And the idea behind it really wasn't about blogging. It was about changing the world of women over 50 for themselves and for the world,
Yeah.
in that we weren't connected, we weren't celebrated. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to change the conversation, right, to
Yeah.
one that's positive, having the world see women reconnecting and celebrating one another, and putting a different perception of ourselves out in the world. So that became the beginning of the campaign. Went viral. I started Forever Fierce. Initially, it was the revolution, which was really more about an
Yes.
inner revolution. And then, it's now about 4.5 years later. So it is now Forever Fierce Midlife Matters. We just hit over 7,000 women.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it really became a personal mission. In when I
Mm.
started my blog in that whole world of social media, which I know you know this, we were
Yeah.
invisible. We were
Oh,
invisible,
absolutely. Yeah.
disconnected. And I'm like, why are we not helping each other? There's
Yeah.
no one guiding us. Like, there's no woman saying, here, let me help you along. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to put my age front and center. I am going to say it proudly. I am going to help other women. I'm going to connect other women. And I'm going to do this differently with collaboration over competition. So
Love
that's
it.
the essence of Forever Fierce Midlife Matters.
And I actually think it was your Fierce 50. I think that's what I tripped over online, traced the little,
Yeah.
breadcrumbs. And that's how I found you. Now I think about it, because I found them and went, oh my gosh, there's more women out there doing the 50 thing. Because I'd quietly kind of started doing it down here in New Zealand. Mine had grown out of my personal training group, and I'd sort of kept going from there, trying to encourage all these women. Yeah, found that online. And it was that same thing of, oh, someone else is doing it too. Let's all start empowering. And the reality is, so you and I have been sitting online doing this for a few years now. There are so many of them now, aren't there? So many midlife coaches, so many midlife groups. But hey, all power to them, because if they're
Yeah.
if they're impacting their worlds, it's amazing. There's a real uprising now, isn't there?
Well, I think, you know what, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I think we need to, really come together. But ageism, we've just barely
Yes.
made a dent, a little ripple. I think if we get more women out there sharing and celebrating and showing a different way to age, a more empowered way to age.
Yes.
Hopefully we can start shifting a more global perception and getting this seen in a big way. Like I said, age positivity is putting a
Yes.
positive light on this. We're all getting older. I don't care if you're 12 or you're 80, if you're still here on this planet, you're aging. So
Yes.
let's do it in a positive way, and let's do it together, and let's celebrate it, because what's the alternative? We're not here
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So
And that's
yeah.
what has happened, hasn't it? Like women would hit midlife and just disappear because it's such a youth obsessed, world. But what I love is we now have like icons such as yourself and a number of other key women. So we are seeing the old women out there, and yeah, it's just breaking down those walls. You're so right. I mean, I'm the same. I'm 55. I'm happy to tell it to anybody. It doesn't matter, and it's not, oh, you look good for 55 either, or you look good for this. It's none of that at all, is it? It's just, I am 55 and I am who I am. And I love that. And I remember one of your media campaigns that you did where you kind of took off the Peaky Blinders. I can't even
Yeah,
remember what it was for, but
that was
I
fun.
loved it. Yeah, I loved it because you all had your numbers. You were wearing those numbers proudly. Like I think you were 56 at the time by memory on the
You
t-shirts.
got good memory. It was a
Yeah,
yeah, it was a campaign we did through Forever Fierce Media, a national commercial
yeah.
that we were hired by a brand to do, and we were proudly, displaying our ages and being badass. And so, I want to share one thing. When I started as a blogger, I was invited by a very big brand to a fancy, fancy event. It was up in the cliffs of Malibu, and
Wow.
I go in there, and it's my daughter's sorority sisters are there, so it's me and them. They
Hmm.
invited me because I thought I was considerably younger than my age. And once I told them my age, they would not speak to me. It was like communication was cut off. It was so fascinating. And I was the one who actually had some really big campaign ideas, had lots of experience in this wheelhouse of the company. And these millennials, they were like on their cell phones taking selfies and pictures and not actually caring at all about the company or the product. It was
Hmm.
fascinating to me. And that made me that much more ready to shout it to the rooftops, because I'm like,
Yeah.
there's something wrong here. You guys are really missing this and missing an opportunity. So
Yes.
I always proudly shouted my age to the rooftops, and I invite other women to do the same.
Yes, absolutely. And I love too, like more and more and more, because you do, you kind of, and I know you struggle with this word, but you are kind of an influencer with what you do on Instagram. Sorry.
It's like a four-letter word to me. No,
I know. That's why I said kind of, and I kind of
well,
apologize in advance. But you
yeah.
kind of are, because you're doing what a lot of influencers do, in that you are highlighting brands. But what I love is A, we know that there's a real, genuine, beautiful woman inside behind those beautiful pictures. But B, the brands you're highlighting are brands that are actually going, we're here, we see you. They're not brands who are looking for someone, a wannabe 20-year-old. They're actually brands that are targeting and realizing that women at midlife is a huge and growing demographic, particularly in entrepreneurialism. It's one of the fastest growing demographics. So
Well,
yeah,
on the same page, yeah. No, I mean, I'm very blessed to work with those brands. I'm very
yeah,
conscious about the ones that I work with, very selective, very, prioritize longer term partnerships that are aligned in mission and message. And when I
yeah.
say that, I just say, I don't want to have influence over women. The whole world of influence got a little out of control, I
Oh,
think.
didn't
And
it?
so
Yeah,
I want women to have influence over themselves, right? I want to give them back their power, not take their power by saying, you got to do this or you got to do that.
yeah.
I want to help them from the inside out. If they love what I'm sharing, great, but make that choice from your own
Yeah.
mind. I'm not going to be telling you how to live, what to do, what to buy. I am going to be empowering you from the inside out to make your own conscious decisions and to live your best life. That's
Oh,
that's my game.
okay. That's just like mic drop right there. We'll just stop right now. Boom. You've
Boom,
just
bam.
but you've just shown that is the quality of a true leader. It's not about
Mhm.
dictating. You have to do it my way. This is the way. This is what worked for me. So this is the way. You are actually empowering these women, going, hey, this is my journey. I'm being real. If I can help you, by all means. And you're also opening these women to meeting and connecting with other women too. I love that. That's true leadership right there, which is why I love being connected with you. So,
Right back at you. You're just mirroring something right back at you. That is the way that you lead as well. And I really do believe in my heart that the greatest responsibility of a leader is to create more leaders. So
yes.
it's not so I can lead you, it's so I'm up here and hopefully I'm encouraging you, and we're all going to rise together and we're all going to
Yes,
lead together, but in our own ways and our own paths, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh gosh, I wish you lived down the road. How many times have I said that?
I know, me too. I know. Oh
Oh
my
my
God. I know.
gosh.
I've missed you. Yeah, I've missed you. I gotta get you back here. Somehow we have to get you back here when it's safe
Well,
again.
when we get you down this end, because everybody in the Southern Hemisphere, we have thrown this around too. So when we get Katherine down here, we will definitely put you on a couple of live events too. So you can connect with Katherine and you can meet this beautiful woman. So,
Amazing.
we need to link the world up together like this. Yeah. Yeah, I could go for
I'm
it.
in. I'm in. I will definitely make that happen.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, before we finish off, I have our 2 random questions for Katherine. So she did get a slight warning, but if you were to have
Just like right now, on here, I got
like
warning.
now, slight. When I say slight, it really was slight.
Like no real preparation. Yeah.
If you were to have a life anthem, a song that represented you that you would walk into, what would yours be?
Carrie Underwood and Keith Urban, The Fighter.
Oh,
That is my like, oh my God. I believe it's like fighting the good fight. So
yeah.
it is a really crazy, wonderful duet. If you haven't heard it, please hear it. It's like when I was down, I would put that song on when I got out of bed and I would just like dance around and get all this
Yeah.
crazy energy going. It fires you up like nobody's business. So I really do believe that it's about fighting the good fight. Life is a fight, right?
Yes, it is
But you better, I feel like midlife it's when you stop fighting with yourself and you start fighting for
for
yourself,
yourself.
that's the good fight. So that's why I love The Fighter. That's my song.
Love that. Love that. I'm not that familiar with that, so I'm definitely going to go look that up.
Great.
But we will be adding it to the playlist that you'll all get access to for the summit. So you're going to walk away with this amazing playlist. Okay. Inspirational book that you're either reading now or have read that you would recommend to everyone listening.
It's so funny as I didn't have this, but I have this book sitting by me today, and it's Wayne Dyer's Power of Intention. So Wayne Dyer was my very first teacher on this path, and I was
Mhm.
actually set to go tour the Holy Lands with him when he passed away. But
Oh,
any of his books, but in particular, I love this one. But also, there is a spiritual solution to every problem, and if you get it as an audio, he is unbelievable. He's a master storyteller. He's fun. He's funny. He's brilliant. He's high level of consciousness, but he peppers it with all these other books and all these other teachers. And that's what started me down this rabbit hole of
mm,
spirituality and becoming obsessed. And there's another one he recommends. It's called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And he's passed too. But those are probably 2 of my top teachers, Dr.
yeah.
David Hawkins and Wayne Dyer. But Power versus Force is all about teaching you what true power is, which is the opposite of force.
Mm,
True power does not, it doesn't involve forcing anything.
no.
It's actually a letting go, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, powerful book.
Oh, wonderful. Well, they will be added to the list. So, Katherine,
Yay.
I just can't thank you enough for being here with us, for your support with this, with your support of Rocking Midlife all these years as well. When you've got your own group, your own tribe, but you've always still been in Rocking Midlife and part of that as well. And we're just so grateful for your presence here and for your wisdom and just for you. You're an absolute blessing. So thank you so much for being with us.
Right back at you, sister. I'm here to support any which way I can, and you do exactly the same. You're actually even on our team thread, which I love.
Yeah,
There's
I
Kat,
love it
there's my
too.
team. We're just, yeah, chatting back and
I'm just
forth.
hanging
So,
out in the background, just hanging in there.
just
Yeah,
hanging out, but she is a true sister and a team
I love
member.
it.
So we love you and appreciate you. And thank you for doing this beautiful summit and for highlighting all these amazing midlife and beyond women
Yeah.
around the world.
Thank you again so much. So everybody listening, we will be having all of Katherine's links. You'll be able to find the Forever Fierce group. You'll be able to find all her different links. She also has a free ebook too, which I didn't mention. What's the name of your ebook, Katherine, that people can register and get?
7 powerful tips to finding self-confidence. It's a good one. Yeah, and I've got a new one in the works right now. So I've got that one, and I'll send you the link down the road to the other one. I've got a brand new one all
Fantastic.
about, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so those links will all be available to you. So you'll all be able to find Katherine and follow her and learn so much more. So again, everybody, if you are here listening to this live today, Please, this video will be up for 24 hours. Go invite your friends, get your girlfriends to come and have a listen so they can be encouraged. Katherine's message is for any woman, that any woman can go from a bleak, what's gone before, to totally changing their lives. She did it. She encourages and empowers other women. She sees other women doing it all the time. I see other women doing it all the time. If they do it, you can do it too. So be blessed. We will see you back for the next presenter.